So hello everyone, my name is Kunal Gupta and I welcome you all to PW Gulf. चाय पी लो कहीं से, स्वाद मिलेगा यहीं से. So I welcome you all after a long time. It's been a long time for me and I guess for you also, the grade 12 kids, right? Since you would have watched our last lecture of this ultimate recap series of grade 12th, right? And even I'm coming after a long I would say not exactly holidays because I was ill, having down with the viral fever, but anyways but the energy had come again as it was before prior to the viral, right? Yeah, so it's me, I was missing this studio and this camera and of course you guys, right? Quickly type in the comment section how is the Josh, high or low. My Josh is high as usual, whether I'm ill or whether I'm well, right? So yeah, I can't tell you my excitement, how much happy I'm here coming back to the studio after a long time. Yeah, quickly type in the comment section how is the Josh, low or high, high, low, medium, dead, alive. Quickly type in the comment section. I hope all of you must have prepared for your exam, board exams or competitive exam, whichever you are preparing for, right? Since boards exams are approaching, right, it's thereafter a few days only, so we had launched this ultimate recap series a few weeks back, right? I hope you would have utilized this ultimate recap series wholeheartedly and would have helped you for the exams, right? And of course is going to help you if the exam is yet to be conducted. Fine. So without any delay, let's begin the chapter. So today we are going to start with the semiconductors chapter, or you can say electronic devices and simple circuits, right? In short, it's usually semiconductors. Very important chapter, very important chapter. In board exams, it can carry a weightage of up to 7 marks, right? Only this single chapter, right? So I usually say in grade 12th, there is this bunch of chapters, the modern physics, which includes atoms, nuclei, the dual nature of matters and radiation, atoms, nuclei, and consider this chapter also, semiconductors, right? So they form a bunch where you can score quite good marks, right? And that's the easiest bunch of the complete physics, I would say, bunch of the easy bundle which we had discussed in the class, the bundle of easy chapters, right? So 7 marks around from this chapter only, so that's why it turns out to be a very important chapter. So without any delay, let's begin. Now format of teaching would be very simple. We would be doing this chapter with the help of previous year questions. As the questions would be coming, I would be explaining you the concepts one by one. What all topics we have to cover? We need to discuss about energy bands first, energy bands in solids. Then we are going to discuss about extrinsic and intrinsic semiconductors or intrinsic and extrinsic semiconductors, right? After this, we are going to discuss about PN junction diode, or simply let us write PN junction, and it's one of the applications as rectifier. Fine. So these all topics we have to discuss in today's session. Fine. So keep your notebook and pen ready. If there is a question, you can pause the video and try the question first yourself and then watch what I am doing. Fine. So pause the video and try out the first question, but before that let us see this table. This seems to be, you guys would be like, we had entered the chemistry class. No, it's physics class only. But before starting with the physics class, let us pick a element silicon. Right. Right. All the atomic numbers are mentioned here, right? Silicon having 14. It's electrically neutral atom, right? So I would say there are 14 electrons in the silicon atom. 14 electrons. If it's electrically neutral, there are 14 electrons. Now, if I ask you what would be the configuration, electronic configuration. So how will you be writing that? Now, why I am making you write the electronic configuration of silicon? That I will tell you later on. But as of now, let us write the electronic configuration of this silicon. 3s, 3p. Fine. No, we are not studying chemistry, I know. But anyways, okay. So 1s2, you need to bifurcate, or you can say distribute these 14 electrons accordingly. So this shell would be getting 2, 2, 6. How many are done? 10 are done. Correct? 2 and 2. Fine. Correct? Correct. If I ask you one more thing in this, that is how many electrons are there in the valence shell? That is the last shell. You would say, sir, 4 electrons are there. Correct? 4 electrons are there in this case. You would say, sir, 4 electrons are there in this case. Fine. Now, let us discuss about the other element. Let me pick phosphorus. It seems very cute, right? Fine. So let us discuss the electronic configuration of phosphorus. So it would be 15 here in this case. So what it will be? Okay. So here it will become 1s, 2s, 2p, 3s, 3p. So what will be the electronic configuration? 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, 3s2, 3p3. Correct. How many valence electrons are there? 5 electrons are there. How many valence electrons are there? 5 electrons would be there. Fine. Now, what if I ask you what will be the electronic configuration of this aluminium, or you can as of now pick boron also. It's up to you. So boron having how much? 5, na? So what would be the electronic configuration? Electronic configuration would be 1s, 2s, 2p. Correct? This much would be enough. So 1s2, 2s2, 2p, 1, 2p, 1. Right. How many valence electrons are there? If I am not wrong, 3 valence electrons are there. These are the valence electrons that I had written. Fine. Now, why I am making you write this? Because it would be utilized in after a few slides. Right. Now, let us start with the first question now. That's there in the on the screen in front of you. Fine. Please pause the video and try it yourself. Term 2 2021-22. What does the question says? Pause the video and do try the question first yourself. What is meant by energy band in solids? Draw the energy band diagram for conductors, insulators and semiconductors. What are energy band? First let us understand. So band refers to group. Band of 7 colors, right? Band of 10 colors, band of 20 colors, right? Group, you can say, right? So what do we mean by band, energy band gap, right? Okay, first they are asking energy band gap. To understand energy band gap, you need to understand what is energy band. Then we can discuss energy band gap. Again, I had told you that we would be discussing this chapter with the help of questions only, right? In this way, you would be able to get to know what sort of questions are being asked. Imagine that there is this silicon crystal in my hand. Imagine that there is this silicon crystal in my hand and there are millions of atoms inside this. Millions of atoms are inside this. All of them would be having valence electrons. That electron would be in some shell, right? In fact, all electrons would be in some or the other shell. Remember the Bohr theory, right? Electrons revolve around the nucleus in fixed or energy levels, right? Or fixed energy orbits, you can say. So that orbit must be having some energy, right? So many electrons would be there, right? Fine. If I consider one atom, single atom, so in the first shell there would be some electrons, in the second shell there would be some electrons, third shell would be there would be some electrons, right? We are only considered with the valence electrons, right? That is the electrons in the last shell, right? They would be having certain energy. I am saying electrons in the valence shell. If I am picking this atom, let us pick this atom for a while. So electrons in the valence shell would be having some energy level, right? Similarly, let that be 1 electron volt. Right? It might be having some energy level, right? When I picked another atom, I found that it is having 1.001 electron volt, the valence electron energy level. When I picked another atom, it is having 0.99 electron volt. Right? Picked another atom, it is having 0.98 electron volt. Right? So the valence electrons, practically we found that not all of them have the same orbital energy. Right? There might be some variation, though it may be less or it may be more. They would be having certain range of energies. That would be better word. So can I say the energy of the valence electrons, it lies between 0.98 electron volt to 1.1 electron volt. So that is for all the energy levels. If I pick any other atom, that would be somewhere in between them. So this gap or this collection of different energy levels is referred to as energy band. Band of energy levels, energy band, band of energy levels, band of energy levels, band of energy levels, right? Band of first, some would be having this, 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 and so collectively they would be forming a band. Can I say this? A band of energy levels. A band of energy levels. A band of energy levels. We can add some colors also to life. A band of energy level would be there. That is referred to as energy band. Now there are two kinds of band. First one is the valence band. What is valence band? Band in which valence electrons are present. Bands in which valence electrons are present. Valence electrons are present. Right. Now you must have heard of a statement that conductors have a lot free electrons, right? So what is exactly that concept? That concept is based on another energy band that is referred to as conduction band, right? So right now I am saying that there are many electrons in this. Or let us give some other color, na? Electrons. Okay, right now I am saying there are many electrons in this. Fine. Now, there is another band called conduction band. Electrons can jump from valence band and reach the conduction band. Electrons can jump from valence band and can reach the conduction band. And electrons electrons in the conduction bands are responsible for the conduction of electricity, you can say, or these electrons are sometimes also referred to as free electrons. So what is conduction band? This is the band of energy which contains energy levels, or you can say which contains bands in which conduction electrons or free electrons, you can say conduction or free electrons are present. Clear? So simple. Clear? Any doubt in this? Quickly type in the comment section. And there is one more concept that I am going to tell you here in a while. Let us complete the question now first. Right. Now, What is meant by energy band gap in solids? Right. Now, how will this electron reach from valence band to conduction band? Is it like, okay, today it's not my mood to stay in valence band, let us move to the conduction band? Huh? This is not your school that you will go by your wish. Fine. You need to give it some energy. Then only it will get excited and move to the conduction band. Right. And how much energy is required is referred to as energy gap. Fine. Minimum this much energy is required so that this electrons from the valence band can jump to the conduction band. This is referred to as energy band gap, and this gap is referred to as energy band gap. Fine. The gap between the conduction band and the valence band, or the energy required for the valence electron to reach the conduction band. Simple as that. Second part, they had asked, draw the energy band diagrams for a conductor, insulators and a semiconductors. Very easy it is. Very easy it is. Okay, fine. We have to keep the time constraint also, otherwise I start and don't stop usually. That's the So let us talk about the conductors first. For simplicity, I am denoting the conduction band by green color. Conduction band by green color. So in case of conductors, the energy gap is almost 0 electron volt. There is no energy gap between case of conductors. That's why you will find the electrons, they are present in the conduction band as well, right? Or that's why we say that conductors have a lot free electrons, because they don't require much energy to get to the conduction band, right? So this one being the valence band and this one being the conduction band. Now let us talk about semiconductors. So in case of semiconductors, yes, there is some energy gap. The bands are not overlapping. Right? That is, this is the valence band and here is the conduction band. Right. And you can say this is the semiconductor. Semiconductor it is. What is semiconductors? You can define from this also. Fine. So they are having some energy gap. And this energy gap, it's roughly less than 3 electron volt. Right? It's less than 3 electron volt. Right? So materials having energy gap less than 3 electron volt are referred to as semiconductors. So here arises another definition. Right, so if you give this much energy, right, suppose the energy gap is 1.1 electron volt, and if you give 1.1 electron volt energy to this, it will get excited and reach here, right? So very few electrons are there in the conduction band at room temperature, you can say. At absolute 0 Kelvin, at absolute 0 temperature, that is 0 Kelvin, that this is completely filled, even this is not there, right? At room temperature, it is partially filled, you can say. Okay, now let us talk about the last but not the least, the insulators. Here as you can see, by the way, right, by this time you would be able to draw the diagram yourself, that they are having a large energy gap. Between the valence band and the conduction band. How much energy gap they are having? These are insulators. Greater than 3 electron volt. Right. Somewhere it is written greater than 5 electron volt also, right? Now the electrons present here require this much energy. Suppose the electron gap, its energy gap is 5 electron volt, so they would be requiring 5 electron volt of energy to reach the conduction band, and when they reach the conduction band, only then they conduct electricity, that is act as a free electrons. That's why the conductivity of insulators is the least. So based on this theory also you can explain. Now one more concept I wanted to tell here is the electron hole concept. Fine, that is the electron hole. Quickly type in the comment section how many of you know what is hole. What is hole? Electron hole concept. Quickly type in the comment section what do we mean by hole. Very easy it is. Now I told that this electron will be leaving this space, right, and go. Can I say when it left this space a vacancy is created? Can I say when it left this space a vacancy is created, and that vacancy is referred to as hole? Now what do I mean by this? Let me just explain you with the help of an example. Now suppose in your home there is some pet, right? You are living with your family and there is a pet, and I am your neighbor, right, just living in front of your house, right, and I don't have any pet, right, I am lonely, living alone, right, so much loneliness is there in the life, right. So one day what I thought is like to bring your pet to my place and kidnap it basically, right. Now I brought that pet, the dog, at my place, at my home, where there was some vacancy, right, emptiness was there in my home. I brought that pet. Now what you guys are going to feel? Won't it be like some vacancies created in your home? And that vacancy is nothing but hole in this case, right. In fact, the vacancy got transferred from my home to your home. Got it? You can frame the words like that also. Now electron has charge, I hope you know E, minus E minus 1.6 into 10 is minus 19 coulomb, right, 1 electron I am talking about. Similarly this is also positively charged and having a charge equal, magnitude equal to that of the electron, 1.6 into 10 raised to a plus 1.6 10 raised to a minus 19 coulomb, right. Now moving ahead to the next topic. Now from here we would be going quite fast. Try this question out, pause the video and try this question out. Write any two distinguished features between conductors, semiconductors and insulators based on energy band gap theory. Just now we had seen, right, in case of conductors their bands are overlapping, right, overlapping. In case of conductor, bands are overlapping. Conductors, semiconductors, draw the diagram also. This is a 3 marker, 2014, All India 2014. Semiconductors, artificial intelligence, 2014. Insulators, so here we had seen band gap, they are overlapping, valence band and conduction band overlap. Right. In case of semiconductors, the band gap is it's less than 3 electron volt. Here the band gap, it's greater than 3 electron volt. Fine. Correct? Yes, correct. Here conduction band is filled. Here at room temperature, here conduction band is partially filled at room temperature or a higher temperature you can say. Here the conduction band is empty, and of course you can draw the diagrams of all three of them, and diagrams are there in front of you in the previous slide only. Let us move to the next question. Name the extrinsic semiconductors formed when a pure when a pure germanium is doped with a trivalent pentavalent impurity. Draw the energy band diagrams of the extrinsic semiconductor so formed. Fine. So we need to name the extrinsic semiconductor formed when pure germanium is formed. Now for that you should know what is extrinsic semiconductor, what is intrinsic semiconductor, what is the meaning of doping. Fine. Okay, let us understand now. Intrinsic semiconductor, here it would be forming the base. Intrinsic semiconductors, intrinsic semiconductor. Or you can say pure semiconductor. Now how exactly is going to happen? Imagine that I have this silicon crystal. Imagine that I have this silicon crystal. Now let us go at the atomic level. Which bond does the silicon form? First of all, type in the comment section. Fine. Ionic bond or covalent bond, type in the comment section quickly. All the things that I would be telling you right now would be true for germanium as well. Fine. Imagine that there is this silicon crystal. So silicon atoms would be there, of course. And what exactly silicon does? Which bond does it forms? The answer is very simple. Covalent bond it forms. Why? Because 4 electrons are there in the valence shell. Just now we had seen 4 electrons are there in the valence shell, and it requires to have 8 to attain stability. Now how will it get 8 electrons? The answer is this. Sorry, this is the question. How will it get 8 electrons? And the answer is with the help of covalent bonds. What are covalent bonds? This we had seen in the previous grades. Bonds formed by sharing of electrons. Bonds formed by sharing of electrons. Now, how it is going to form the bond? Let us see behind the scenes. Okay, let us pick this silicon. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, fine. Thank God there is undo option here. Right, it would be very tough to draw again. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now this silicon will say, okay, you are having 1 electron, let us share. You are my buddy. Right? Okay. Same it will say to this electron, okay, you are my buddy from the west, right, Europe. Please share 1 electron. Similarly, to Asia, it will say share 1 electron, right? Southeast Asia, right? To the east, it will say you also share 1 electron. To China, though it won't, right? It will acquire its territory otherwise. Anyways, let us come back. No geopolitics. Okay, fine. So it will say let us share the electrons. Now watch out this blue. Blue territory. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 electrons are there. If I talk about this silicon atom, can I say now it has attained stability? Similarly, the adjacent one, this would also be forming 8 bonds like this. Sorry, covalent bonds like this. Correct? And this is referred to as pure silicon. This is referred to as pure silicon. Why pure? Because there is only silicon atoms are there in this crystals. In this silicon crystal, only silicon atoms are there. Now, this electron, it was quite chulbulu. So what it did, it left its space and went for attaining peace. Right? He said, I'm going to Mount Everest. Enough of this materialistic things. I am going to leave you and attain what we say peace, salvation, whatever it is. Fine. So this electron left this silicon. Now, what is going to happen? What is going to happen? If an electron leave a space, leave its place, so what is formed? Hole is formed. So here one hole would be formed, having charge plus E, you can say, plus 1 unit, you can say, in units you can say. This is having minus 1 unit charge and this is having plus 1 unit charge. Now there are millions of such atoms, of which a few are going to do this things, and electron hole pair would be formed here also. Electron hole pair would be formed here also. Would be formed here also. Fine. And in fact, these would be responsible for the conductivity if we talk about the intrinsic semiconductor or intrinsic silicon. Fine. All the things are true for the germanium also. Fine, 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 fine. Now, how many electrons if I consider this diagram only? One electron is there, one hole is there. If I ask you, electron density, sorry, number density of electrons is more or number density of holes is more? Quickly type in the comment section. Number density of electrons is more or number density of holes is more? Quickly type in the comment section. Yes. Okay. Quickly type in the comment section. I will pretend I am seeing your comments. Fine. Okay, fine. So basically, number density of charge carriers means, okay, these are the charge carriers basically. Number density of the charge carrier means number of charges per unit volume, right? So yeah, suppose Ne denotes the charge density of electrons. NH denotes charge density of holes. Fine. So here can I say number density of electrons is equal to number density of holes. This is a very important thing. Number of density remains same. How many? Because it's formed in pairs, right? Plus 1 coulomb charge, minus 1 coulomb charge, right? Plus 1 unit charge, minus 1 unit charge. So they will cancel out, and overall this complete crystal would be neutral. Right? Now problem with this intrinsic semiconductor was this was not of use. This wasn't of use. Practical use, I would say. Right. Why it wasn't of practical use? Because these were formed, but the number density were quite in very less in number, right? So that wasn't, we need material of a suitably higher conductivity, right? So this wasn't of our use. So this needs to be changed, right? And how we are going to change? With the help of doping. What is doping? Let me just explain you. Adding of impurities to the intrinsic semiconductor so as to make it extrinsic or impure semiconductor is referred to as doping. Let us understand this one by one. Here comes the second type, that is the extrinsic semiconductor. Or you can say impure, as you are. Fine. Okay. Sir, we are not impure. Okay. Fine. Impure semiconductors, of which comes the first type, that is, I would be telling there are two types of impure semiconductors also, that I would be explaining you in a while. Fine. Do I require much more space than this? Okay, let us take some space instead of creating. Okay, fine, I would be able to do it. Okay, now remember silicon, silicon. Okay. Now electron, Now bonds would be formed. Now we have to do doping. And how we are going to do the doping? Very simple it is. Very simple it is. That is by adding impurity. By adding impurity. Now, remember initially in the periodic table I had made you write about two elements, right? Phosphorus and boron. Right. Now, in this group, I had picked phosphorus. Phosphorus, watch out carefully, is having 5 electrons. That's why it is in the valence shell. It is referred to as pentavalent. Now I am going to use this only as my impurity. How I am going to use it? Let me just show you. All eyes on the board. Now I am going to add phosphorus. Fine. Now I am going to add phosphorus having 5 electrons. 1, 2, 3, 4 and another 5. Fine. Now this phosphorus is going to get added in this silicon crystal. How it is going to get added? What it will say? Okay, how if a new student comes to your class, right? And there is no space. What he or she is going to do? He is going to ask you, why don't you give me your seat? And you would be very kind to him, right? Okay, please take my seat. I will go somewhere else, right? You won't be judging how he or she is. You would be like, okay. I am so kind, I am going to give you the seat, right? And so is the silicon, correct? No, it's not. The silicon atom, it's not kind like you. Fine. The phosphorus is going to come and ask the silicon, can I come here and sit at your place? The silicon is going to say no. Fine. Why? You are having 5 electrons. We need to form covalent bonds, that is 4 electrons, right? You need in the valence shell. What you are going to do after coming to us? Right? You will create disturbance in the lattice, right? It will move to the second crystal, sorry, second atom, second silicon atom. It is going to ask, please adjust me. It is going to say, up, go back, right? Why? Because 4 electrons are there, you are going to disturb our crystal lattice. Now, the problem are the 4 electrons and you need to add this impurity, that is, you need to do the doping, right? How you are going to do? If this phosphorus anyhow lose 1 electron, let me draw that lost electron on the side, somewhere here. On losing 1 electron, it will acquire the positive charge, correct? Fine. Now can this phosphorus crystal can be added? Now can this phosphorus, atom be added in this lattice? The answer is yes. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Fine. Now this phosphorus is going to get added in this lattice and replace the silicon, right? In fact, phosphorus ion I should say. Fine. Phosphorus ion would be the better term. Phosphorus ion. Phosphorus ion. 1, 2, 3, 4. Fine. Now watch out carefully. Is it a covalent bond? Yes, it is a covalent bond. Yes, it is a covalent bond. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Here also it is going to form covalent bonds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Clear? Clear? But as it enters, it will bring its electron also. Fine. It will bring that electron which it had lost now. Where it is going to go, right? It is going to come in the crystal lattice only. That 1 electron left here, that I am drawing here. This is referred to as doping, addition of impurity. Now, what exactly has happened when you added this impurity? That was pentavalent impurity. Watch out carefully. Overall, there were some electron hole pairs in the lattice. This phosphorus came to the lattice and had brought 1 electron. Similarly, there are millions of silicon atoms and thousands of phosphorus ions in the lattice which are having some electrons associated with it, right? And overall, you can say that these electrons have increased in number, right? Or number density of electrons is more than the number density of holes. And that is how the conductivity is increased, right? And that is how the conductivity is increased, right? And can I say since okay, Okay, okay. I will name this in a while. Right now, there is two things. Two things here. Majority. Okay. Spelling of majority. Majority charge carriers and minority charge carriers. Minority charge carriers. Who are the majority charge carriers in the crystal lattice? That is, who are more in number, electrons or holes? Charge carriers we know. Either it would be electrons or it would be holes. Who are more in number? Clearly electrons are more in number. So majority charge carrier electrons, minority charge carrier holes. Fine. And which, okay, by the way, that's the reason this kind is referred to as, this kind of crystal extrinsic semiconductor is referred to as N-type semiconductor. N-type semiconductor, because electrons are more in number. Right? Here the ion that is formed is here the ions that are formed is it's a positive ion, right? That is added to the lattice. Okay. Impurity that you had added to the lattice, is it trivalent or pentavalent? It's pentavalent. Overall, what is the charge on the crystal lattice? Overall, what is the charge on the crystal lattice? The answer is overall it is electrically neutral, right? Suppose if there is this positive charge, then there is this negative charge to counteract that, right? So plus 1 unit, minus 1 unit, that cancels out, right? So overall still it is electrically neutral. Sometimes this is being asked in the exam, electrically neutral. This is overall electrically neutral still, fine. Now N type is done. Now there could be another possibility. I think since it's a revision series, all of you know what is the other possibility. The other possibility is that you are adding, it's a p-type semiconductor. Now most of you would have got what is a p-type semiconductor. Here the element that you had added, or the dopant that was referred to as the dopant, fine. You had the silicon crystal, silicon, 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 silicon. Okay, fine. Here the okay, come back to the table. Another element whose electronic configuration that I had written in the on the board was the boron, having 3 valence electrons. That is a trivalent atom. Now the dopant in the second type would be a trivalent atom, that is the boron. How many electrons it has? 1, 2, 3. Boron will try to enter, will ask silicon, please come, let me know, let me just get inside the crystal lattice, and silicon will say, hup. Why? Because you need 4 electrons to make covalent bonds, and boron, kid boron, you are having only 3. How can I allow you to enter my crystal lattice? How can I allow you to enter my crystal lattice? How can I allow you to enter my crystal lattice? How can I allow you to enter my crystal lattice? Boron will say, acha, okay. Then I will go to the other silicon. This is what you do now. If your father is not fulfilling your wish, then you go to your mother, correct? If mother is not fulfilling, then elder brother or sister are the final ones, and they do usually. Right? It will try to move to the other silicon is also going to diffuse. He will say no. Now, what this boron has to do to enter the crystal lattice? Quickly type in the comment section. The answer is very simple. Gain one electron. Gain one electron and make 4 electrons in the valence shell and enter the lattice. And how it is going to gain the electron? Guys, remember this overall crystal lattice, initially it was having some electron holes. When no dopant, no impurity was there, still there were some electron holes pair. Still there were some electron. This was electron, this was hole, positively charged. Still few pairs were there. Correct? No. 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 Let me just draw one pair. Here is a hole. Here is a hole and an electron. Let me draw the electron here. Can I give this electron to this? And as soon as I give this electron to this boron, what is going to happen? Electron is there, it will acquire an overall negative charge. Now it is eligible to enter this lattice. Now this boron is eligible, in fact not boron exactly, boron ion is eligible to enter this crystal lattice. Can I say this? The answer is yes. Okay sir. Now you can enter the crystal lattice. Let me just erase this, and instead of here, let me draw the boron. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Now can I form the covalent bond? Yes sir, you can form the covalent bond. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 electrons in the valence shell. And done. And done. Fine. Now watch out carefully. As soon as the electron left, a hole was there. A hole was there. Overall, as of now, you can see, you can find one hole. Overall, you can find one hole, right? So, and millions of silicon atoms are there, and thousands of such boron ions are there. So, thousands would be the holes. So, can I say the number density of holes is more than the number density of the electrons? Or can I say here majority charge carriers are holes, minority charge carriers are electrons, ions are formed of negative charge, impurity added is a trivalent. Many times the questions have been asked in the competition based on this slides only. Electrons, ions formed are negative charge, negative in charge, and impurity added is trivalent. Overall still plus minus, overall still the crystal is electrically neutral. It has maintained its neutrality. Okay, clear? Any doubt in this? Quickly let me know in the comment section. Any doubt in this? Quickly let me know in the comment section, and then we shall move. Very important slide it is. Fine. Very important slide it is. Now I hope you can answer many questions based on this. I think you would be able to do this also. Fine. Take this as homework. Assertion and reason based. Now, this extrinsic semiconductor formed, where it is, this was also of not use. Practically yes, this was of use, but not of much use, right? In fact the use was more of the next device that we are going, not exactly device, Next thing that we are going to study, explain the formation of PN junction or PN junction diode. Fine. This would be of our use. So much time we are dedicated and those things was of no use, right? Okay. Explain the formation of PN junction diode. Let us understand. Now what exactly is going to happen behind the scene? This is a very important question. They can ask you in 5 marker also. Explain the formation of PN junction or PN junction, explain the working of PN junction diode, right? Forward bias, what is reverse biased, right? What I'm going to do as of now is take one p-type crystal, p-type impure, right? And take another n-type crystal, right? Take one p-type crystal and take one n-type crystal and fabricate them together. PN junction diode is formed. Now some process would be happening. Let us understand that process one by one. In p-type we know holes 1, 2, 3 are the majority charge carriers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Correct. In n-type, electrons are the majority charge carriers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, sir. In p-type, what are the ions formed? What were the ions formed? If I am not wrong, negative charge. Okay, for ions you should know one thing. Where are the ions? These ions are immobile. They are not going to move. Electrons, holes can move, fine, but these ions are not going to move. These are immobile. Understand carefully. So the in the p-type, the negative ions are there. Fine. Right. Which are immobile, they are not going to move for sure, right? So I'm going to drawing the immobile ions. Of course here would also be there, but I'm not drawing them because that won't be of use. Here the immobile ions are the positively charged, plus, plus, plus. They are not moving, they are fixed at their space, right? They are fixed at their space. And of course some minority charge carriers are here, right? Minority charge carriers are the electrons in p-type. Minority charge carriers here are the holes, right? Are drawn very less because that are very less in number. Now what is going to happen? First step, you fabricated them together. Now watch out carefully. The holes or the positive charge is going to get combined with the negative charge. In fact, practically what is going to happen, you can say the electrons will move towards the hole and recombination of electrons hole are going to take place. So first thing that is going to take place is electron hole recombination. Can I say this? Yes sir, you can say this. Electrons and holes are going to recombine. Electrons or hole are going to recombine. In fact, as they recombine, this portion, since positive and negative are combining, this overall will become as an electrically neutral entity, right? Fine. So in this portion, if I draw it again, there won't be any charge, right? In this portion, electron hole recombination is taking place. In fact, let me just draw it on this side and you will get to know what exactly is going to happen now. So there would be a region formed. There would be a region formed. There would be a region formed where there won't be any, these majority charge carriers won't be there. Why? But otherwise there would be, the charge carriers would be there. Plus 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 plus. 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 5. Okay. And this is referred to as the depletion region. This is formed due to recombination of electron hole. This is referred to as depletion region, and this is formed due to electron hole recombination. Electron hole recombination, right? And let me draw the ions. Negative ion as it is, 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 positive ion as it is, positive ion as it is, positive ion as it is. So depletion region is formed, electron hole, due to electron hole combination, or you can say electrons are moving this side, or you can say hole or positive charge is moving that side. Fine. Since flow of positive charge is referred to as the direction of the current, fine. So we refer to this as diffusion current is there. Now this process is happening, the width of the depletion region is increasing, but increases up to, earlier it was this much, then it increased this much, then this much. It is going to increase, but up to a certain level only. Why? Because watch out carefully. Positive negative ions are waiting. And they will create some field, electric field from positive to negative, right? And this electric field will stop the further recombination of the electron and the hole. Very simple. What is going to happen? Let me just show you. This positive, as soon as it tries to move the other side, the positive ion is going to repel it and will going to stop the further movement. So depletion region, depletion layer, it's get obstructed due to the electric field, you can say. Or just imagine that it is acting like a battery or a cell, you can say, having some potential also, given by V, and that is nothing but barrier potential. This is sometimes also referred to as barrier potential. So this is the concept behind the p-n junction. And one thing I had drawn are the minority charge caryons. Minority charge caryons can flow, positive, negative, attract, right? So this will flow in this direction, right? Yeah. So you can say overall, yeah, drift current is moving in this direction. Right. Drift current is moving in this direction, right? Why drift? Because that's the flow of the minority charge carriers. Simple as that, right? Now, any doubt in this? Quickly let me know. Can we take one slab of p-type and physically join it to form n-type semiconductor to get p-n junction? No. Reason being, the junction, it won't be formed at the fabrication, won't be at the atomic level, right? So it's not possible. Pause the video and try it out. With the help of a diagram. Explain the working of a p-n junction diode in forward biasing, and then explain the VI characteristics. No, very simple it is. There is a concept of forward biasing and reverse biasing. Okay, one thing I hadn't told you. I'm not going to draw this diagram again and again. To represent the p-n junction diode, simply represent the p side by this triangle and n side by this straight line. Simple as that. P side Right? This is how we represent the PN junction diode, positive, negative, right? So now, the first type of biasing refers to connecting with a cell or a battery. Simple as that. When you connect the PN junction diode with a battery or a cell, that is referred to as biasing. What is forward biasing? When you connect the P side with the positive terminal, not exactly positive terminal, I would say, but with a higher potential. Not exactly positive terminal, but it would be better to say higher potential, right? Fine. So this is P side, this is N side, you can simply write. So P side you connect with higher potential, N side you connect with lower potential. This is higher potential, this is lower potential. Positive, negative, I usually don't make it right to the students. P connected with positive, N connected with negative. That won't be the correct one, because in exam they are going to ask you whether it's forward biasing or reverse biasing. So this definition, it's better. Second is reverse biasing. In reverse biasing, what happens? As the name suggests, I think most of you would be quickly comment in the comment section that what happens in the reverse biasing. Here the N type is connected with the positive terminal and the N side is connected with the, N is connected with the positive terminal and P is connected with the negative, not exactly positive, negative, higher potential, lower potential. P side connected with lower potential, N side connected with higher potential. Now there is one thing, a lot portion has been deleted from this chapter that we are not going to cover. So yeah, please make sure if you want to understand that, you do that, logic gates, etc. Fine. Anyways, okay. If it's an ideal PN junction diode in forward bias, then it does not offer any resistance. So resistance, it's zero. Basically, whenever it is in forward biased, what you can do, replace this PN junction wire with a straight wire, right? In forward biasing, current will flow, right? You can say. On the other hand, in reverse biased, the current is not going to flow. It acts as a open circuit. Resistance is infinite. But talk about ideal diode. Same, ideal diode. All right. And here are the VI characteristics. It's there in front of you. So on the x-axis, it's the voltage, right? Basically, this voltage we are talking about. Fine. Okay. One important thing. Remember, it was having some barrier potential. This PN junction diode was having some barrier potential, against which is your applied voltage. Against which is your applied voltage. Now, if I put any cell or any battery, is current going to flow like that? And suppose the barrier potential, this is of 0.7 volt, and I had put a battery of 0.3 volt. So is the current going to flow? Answer is no. No. You need to overcome this barrier potential so as to make the flow of current, right? Fine. So it should be 0.8, 9, 10, 1 volt, 2 volt, 3 volt, so that the current flows in forward biasing. And so this is written here, it's depicted here. So you need to overcome the barrier potential first. Fine. Below that, if you apply any battery, there not much current would be flowing, very less you can say. Fine. Not much current would be flowing, right? And beyond the barrier potential, if you increase the potential beyond the barrier potential, right, the current increases immensely, right? In fact, it's in milliampere. On the other hand, in reverse bias, current flows very less. In fact, if you can see on the y-axis, the current here, it's in microampere. It's in microampere here on the y-axis. And so very less current was flowing, and there comes a breakdown voltage. Beyond that, current increases to an immense amount. So yes, sometimes they ask you the VI characteristics also. Fine. Okay, okay. Take this as homework. 1 marker it is. Okay. So we need to tell which one is in the forward biased and which one is in the reverse biased in this. Right. Tell which diode is forward biased or reverse biased. Higher potential, higher terminal, lower terminal. Lower terminal. Right. So clearly you can say, okay, now do remember the symbol that how I had drawn it. And so this represents the P side, this represents the N side. Right. P, N. Right. P side connected to the higher potential, N side to the lower potential. So clearly this is in forward biased. Okay, P, N. P side connected to the lower potential, N side connected to the higher potential. This is in reverse biased. Right. So first question done. Fine. Find the current passing through the 4 ohm and the 8 ohm resistance as in the circuit shown. Fine. For the 4 ohm, for the forward bias, this acts as a closed circuit. Right. Let me just redraw the diagram. Replace the forward bias with a closed and reverse biased with an open circuit. And this is being replaced by 12 volt battery or cell, you can say 12 volts. 4 ohm resistor is there and here is a 8 ohm resistor. Right. Now simply you can solve. If you want, you can remove this also in the circuit, right? And you need to find the current through the 4 ohm resistor and the 8 ohm. Across the 8 ohm resistor, the current value would be 0 and no current would be flowing in this branch, right? What about this branch? Simply you can apply I is equal to V upon R. Potential drop across this is 12 volt. R resistance is 4. So this gets cancelled out. 3 ampere. Right? 1, 2, 3. Yeah. 3 ampere current is flowing. In the circuit as shown in the diagram. Yes, done. We need to keep this lecture quite short and crisp within the time limit, so I can understand. Yeah, so that's why we are not able to practice the questions in depth, but anyways, I'm trying my best to cover as many questions. The threshold voltage of PN junction diode used in the circuit is 0.7 volt. Okay, the type of biasing and current in the circuit are, again take it as homework. Very easy it is. Threshold, they are saying the barrier potential, it is 0.7 volt and you are applying a battery of 0.5 volt. You are applying a battery of 0.5 volt. Is the current going to flow? No. And is it forward biased or reverse biased? P side to the higher potential, N side to the lower potential, so it can't be reverse biased. Forward biased with 0 ampere. Fine. Why? Because you are not able to overcome the barrier potential, na? So how the current is going to flow? At least overcome the barrier potential, then only the current is going to flow. Correct? Take this also as homework. Last and the important one. Right. That is the difference between the forward half wave rectifier and the full wave rectifier. First of all, let us understand what is a rectifier. Right. So it converts an AC input to a DC output. What do I mean by this? Let us understand. What is AC input? This is the input side, by the way, this is the output side. This is a half wave rectifier. In front of you, half wave rectifier is there. There is a primary coil, secondary coil. It works on the principle of like transformer, you must have studied now. So this is nothing but this portion is transformer, you had attached a diode. Now, understand, the input is continuously varying. But we want the direction of current should not change at the output, that is at the load here. Right. Now, here it is positive, negative. After some time, it would be negative here, then positive, and then positive here, negative here, then negative here, positive here. Now watch out carefully. There is a diode attached, right? Fine. For some cycle, for this positive cycle, let us suppose here it is positive, right? And here it is negative. So this is P side, this is N side. Let me just draw the diagram. This is P side, this is N side. As of now, this is in forward bias, so it will say, okay, I am allowing the current to flow. So I am allowing the current to flow. Okay, sir, allow. Now, after some time, this would be positive and this would be negative. P side connected with lower potential, N side to the higher potential, reverse bias. Ideal we are considering, so no current is going to flow for the next cycle. For the next cycle, no current is going to flow. This has positive, this has negative now. Again it will allow. For the next negative cycle, it won't allow. Stagnant. Fine, clear. So it is only allowing half of the cycle, you can say. That is why it is referred to as half wave rectifier. Half wave rectifier. Now, a few of you would be arguing, sir, that we need complete output, right? Like it should allow all the cycles, and all the cycles should be positive, either positive or negative, that it should be unidirectional only. Right? Now, in that case, we would be using two diodes, diode 1 and diode 2. First, positive would be here, negative would be here. Input is as usual. Now, first this diode, as you can see, P side, N side, it's in forward biased. On the other hand, okay, sorry, this is negative. On the other hand, this is in reverse biased, right? So what this diode will do, this diode will allow the current to pass. It will go and move across this load, and across this load is what you are getting the output, right? And here is the input, right? Now, let us change the cycle. This has negative, this has positive. Now, negative with the P side, reverse biased, current will not flow. Positive with the P side, positive forward cycle, for the diode 2, current will flow. Direction of current across this remains still remains the same. Direction hasn't changed. So in the next cycle also it is like this. Make this negative, this as positive. This comes in reverse bias, so here it won't be working. This is in forward bias, this would be working. Again, this is the direction of the current. So here would be the output, and so on. And this is how the full wave rectifier works. Why it is referred to as full wave? Because it is allowing all the cycles to pass from it, right? So that's why this is a full wave rectifier. Another important topic it is, right? They can ask you the theory about this topic, right? And of course I am giving you a few questions as homework. Try this question as homework. Do type in the comment section the answers of this. Right. And here we come to the end of the chapter, right? So long time after this YouTube session I took. Thank you very much for choosing PW Gulf. Do leave your feedback in the comment section, and do share this video with your friends who need some guidance related to this chapter. Definitely it would be very helpful for your exams. Thank you very much for choosing PW Gulf.